Today on Locked On A's, we're playing Love, Marry, Kill with a twist. It's for baseball, though. I'm going to sign a guy, I'm going to trade a guy, and I'm also going to call somebody up from the minors. And then we're going to put together some trades because people ask me for them in the comments on YouTube. So trades with the Houston Astros and the Arizona Diamondbacks. What would those look like? Let's get into it. How's it going, A's fans, and welcome to episode 504 of the Locked On A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, noted baseball fan Jason Burke, and on today's show, we're doing Love, Marry, Kill. I think I can say all those words. I'm going to sign somebody, I'm going to trade somebody away, and then I'm also going to make a call to the minors and improve the A's roster that way. I'm more having fun with this one. It's not basically, if I was GM for a day, what would I do? And I'm having fun. I could do like a real answer to this as well. But I'm having fun with this one. It's Friday fun day, you guys. And then later on, we're going to put together a trade with the Houston Astros, see what that could look like in a trade for Sean Murphy, because somebody wanted me to, and I almost didn't out of spite because I don't want to trade him to the Astros, but let's do our due diligence. Why not? It's the off season. I have to. And then also I threw together a trade with the Diamondbacks and what that could look like and whether or not they're good trade partners for the A's for Sean Murphy. Because they have outfielders. The A's want outfielders. So it feels like they're good trade partners on paper. Do the Diamondbacks have the other things that the A's are looking for? We're going to talk about that as well. But before we get into anything, today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. Bet Online, that is where the game starts. And before we start, thank you so much for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all platforms, including on YouTube, where this episode was basically written for me. So thank you to everybody who commented. Nobody told me that I was handsome today, but it's fine. You know, beggars can't be choosers. You guys gave me content. But from now on, I'm going to need everybody to say, Jason, you're so handsome and so good at baseball. How do you do it? That's the comment. I could put that in the show notes and just have you copy and paste and just fill the comment section. And it also helps the algorithm find the podcast for other people. So like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. And if you're on audio, just subscribe, and then also follow us on social media. That's how you do it. Subscribe wherever you're listening, and then also follow us on social media at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at by Jason B on Twitter, and check out my site Inside the A's. It's in affiliation with Sports Illustrated, where I do A's news and analysis on a daily basis. It's at Inside the A's on Twitter and on Facebook, so you never miss an article over there. But let's do Love, Marry, Kill. I'm going to mess this up one of these times. And then the FCC is going to come for me. So I said that for episode 500, I might do a swear. I'll do a swear now. It's going to be out of context, but I'll do a swear. The A's played like butt in 2022. That's what I was going to say the entire time. I just didn't get to work it in because the winter meetings happened, and holy crap, there were so many Sean Murphy rumors that I just had to talk about. If you've been listening to the podcast or you follow me on social media, I like talking trades. It's something I do all the time. The Locked On hosts are like, Jason, you're always talking trades. I'm like, I like trades. I think it's because I'm an A's fan, and I think that some of us hate trades because it involves our favorite players leaving us, but I'm dead inside, and so I get excited for new guys because they're always coming. There's so much turnover on the A's roster. I'm used to it, and I look forward to clamoring over other teams' prospects, and then one day maybe having them. So I'm a trades guy. That's what I do. So let's talk about a trade here coming up right now. This is the one where I'm kind of joking. Because I don't know that the profile is necessarily great, and he's not necessarily going to be in the majors in 2023. But I really want Yoelqui Cespedes of the Chicago White Sox, because I want a Cespedes in Oakland in 2023, or at least in the Oakland system. I don't care. I want Cespedes back in the Bay Area where he belongs. None of that Queens stuff. No, or Detroit or Boston. No. I want them in Oakland now. And even if it's his brother, I don't care. I want a Y Cespedes in Oakland. He's fine. I think he strikes out a decent amount. He doesn't walk a lot to go along with that. So the profile's not great. It's really, I just want him is all. I want the brand name. So there's that. I looked up the trade values. He doesn't have a high trade value. It's like a 2.3, I think. So whoever that is, I think like Cooper Bowman, who was the second baseman that the A's got in the Frankie Montas / Lou Trevino trade. You could trade him or Paul Blackburn or Jonah Bride. Sure. I mean, Jonah Bride's a friend of the show, so don't trade Jonah Bride. But the other guys, sure. Trade any of them because I want Cespedes. And that was the joke portion of Love, Marry, Kill. Coming up for the real stuff, the actual guy that I would get off of the free agent market here is Joey Gallo. And I mean, I've said this before. I want to make Bryce Patrick of Locked On Rangers cry. I want to call him my adult son because that's what Bryce Patrick calls Joey Gallo. He really likes Joey Gallo, you guys. It's weird. And I would like to have him come on the show and just be like, hey, so how's Joey? How are things? And, you know, it'd be awkward. And I clamor for that. I want that awkwardness. So give me Joey Gallo. He did hit just 160 in 2022 with the Yankees and the Dodgers with a 280 on base. The on base is actually really good considering how terrible that batting average was. He did still have a 79 OPS plus, which is only 21% below league average, even though he hit 160. So he was still somewhat productive. He's got a cannon of an arm. He can play the outfield. So there's that. That's, I mean, he's still arguably better than Christian Pache on both sides of the ball there. So Joey Gallo is an upgrade over somebody on the A's roster. He still hit 19 home runs, and I would love to be rooting for Joey Gallo home runs. I've seen enough of them come against the A's, and they suck. But he's had some really good stretches at the Coliseum. So, hey, maybe playing at the Coliseum is what does it. Or maybe it's just facing A's pitching that does it. One of the two. I think that a 1-year deal between $8 and $10 million probably should do it. He's looking for a 1-year deal. Cody Bellinger got, $17.5 million, I think. And that's a lot. And he hit like 190 last year. So he had a better season somehow than Joey Gallo. And he also, I think that it's the stuff that he's done in the past that still got him that close to the qualifying offer that he had been offered, or no, that he was not offered. Sorry, he was non-tendered. So I think that is why I'm going 8 to 10. Maybe it's up to 12. I don't know, but it's 1 year of Joey Gallo, and the hope here is that he has a ridiculous first half, and then you can trade him in July. That's really the hope with what I'm doing here. I would like to root for him, sure, but also he's a good name brand like Cespedes, and I think that teams would, if he's doing some stuff, they would line up and trade some actual prospects for Joey Gallo, and that is what I want. So hopefully you're buying a couple of good prospects here by signing Joey Gallo. I know that the shift is going to be banging. It's going to be outlawed, or their teams are going to find other ways to shift, and it's not going to have. I really don't know that it's going to have a huge impact. Maybe he hits 170 instead of 160. Whoa! Thanks, Rob Manfred. Somebody clipped that. That was gold. I don't know that it's going to have as big of an impact as some people are hoping that it does. I think that, we'll see some more balls in play, though, and that's cool. But Joey Gallo, his whole thing is he doesn't put the ball in play, so I don't know that he's going to be getting like a big bounce off of the banning of the shift because he struck out 40% of the time last year as well. So I don't know that he's going to be getting all those balls through the right side that he wasn't getting before. We'll see what happens. But hey, maybe that does have an impact, and all of the analytics people and all of the people that actually watch ball trajectories and all that stuff, maybe they're all wrong, and Joey Gallo just hits 400 out of nowhere because the shift had been dooming him. It cost him millions of dollars. And no, so that's my thought is, hey, maybe there's a dead cat bounce here. And he just has like a really nice first half. That's what I'm hoping for here. Or a change of scenery where he's not in Los Angeles or New York. That's what I think is actually going to be a big key for Joey Gallo and why he could actually end up with the Oakland A's is nobody's paying attention to the Oakland A's in 2023. So, except for you guys. Great listening by you guys also. And I'll be here all the time. So yeah, I think that Joey Gallo might just want to take a step back before being thrust back into a big situation and making, millions of dollars again, hundreds of millions of dollars, because he's going to have a great 2023 with the Oakland A's. That's, I'm saying it now. And then the call up that I would do, I'm cheating a little bit because he's a friend of the program, but Mason Miller, he's on the precipice of making his big league debut. He could make his big league debut coming out of spring training anyway, so I'm not really stretching too far, but he throws over 100. He is a starting pitcher. He was hurt a decent amount in 2022, so I don't know that he's necessarily a guy that you want to just throw into the rotation. So I'm using him as a bullpen option. Use him in the middle innings and then make him a later inning guy. And then maybe even make him the friggin' closer by the end of the season. Screw it. Build up his arm. He's going to be dominating as a starting pitcher in 2024. I want to get him that experience all season long. Mason Miller is my call up. And yeah, that's what I'm doing here. If you guys also have some people that you would love to marry and kill, or trade, sign, and call up, let me know down in the comments below if you're on YouTube, and let me know what you think, because I kind of threw this one together on the back of a napkin and had some fun. But Joey Gallo is somebody that I would target if I'm the A's, and also Mason Miller is on the precipice, and I like him. He made 20 minutes for me to talk about himself, so I appreciate that. Bring him up. Call him up to Oakland now. And then Cespedes is Cespedes. There you go. That was my reasoning. Hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to be talking about more Sean Murphy trades coming up in just a second. Can we pause for a second? Okay, we're paused? Great, because you got to try this. And I'm talking about Built Bar's new reimagined flavors. Cookie dough topper, coconut brownie bar, and coconut brownie topper. Ooh, those sound so good. I am salivating thinking of these flavors, and they get even better. White chocolate peppermint granola. It's Built's take on a granola bar, so it's more filling and still insanely tasty. And candy cane brownie puff. I love puffs. I love candy canes. I love brownies. They just take my favorite flavors and just smush them all together into one amazing protein bar. And the puffs are just the way to have the Built bars. Built puffs are like biting into the universe's most delicious cloud. And if you haven't tried Built bars before, they're literally the best tasting protein bars ever built. You get it? That's really good. I'm not joking. They're absolutely amazing. And you got to try Built Bars is really where I'm landing on this one. You got to go to built.com because they're amazing Built Bars. Honestly, you got to try this, and you can get 15% off of your order right now by using code LOCKEDON15 at built.com. You're not gonna regret these. These are absolutely amazing. Try the puffs. Any flavor of puff, go to built.com, throw in the code LOCKEDON15, and you get 15% off right now at built.com. Welcome back to the Locked On A's podcast. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure to subscribe wherever you like to hear podcasts. Follow us on social media at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. I'm by Jason B on Twitter. And for more A's news, insight, and analysis coming your way every day. Ooh, I came up with that one off the cuff, and that sounded fine. Go to Inside the A's, and you can also follow Inside the A's on Twitter and on Facebook. There are lots of Sean Murphy trade scenarios going on over at Inside the A's right now. We'll get into some more analysis before long, but right now we're doing news and also putting together trade stuff like we do here at Locked On A's. It's a good time, but somebody in the comments on YouTube wanted me to, I believe it was actually some guy, was actually the handle. They wanted me to put together a trade scenario with the Houston Astros to just see like what it would look like, and I tried. I don't think that they're good trade partners. One, they're in the division. Two, I don't like them. Three, they're the Astros. So there's that. But I put some stuff together, and I don't think that they're good trade partners. I don't think that they fit with what the A's are going for currently. They have like guys in the lower minors or like double A, but not the guys that the A's are looking for. They're looking for either major league ready or upper levels guys, and the Astros don't have a lot of those guys that necessarily fit where the A's have needs. So that's the caveat, but let's get into it. The Astros' youngest players on their 25 or 26 man roster, you got Yordan Alvarez. He's not being traded. Corey Lee, he's a catcher. I don't want any more catchers, any more prospect catchers. I mean, the A's need to sign a backup catcher once they trade Sean Murphy. Come on down, Jorge Alfaro. That's the guy that I want because he's also got an arm. He can play some defense, and he's fine with the bat. He's maybe league average. I don't know. And then Kyle Tucker. That's the other young guy. So that they got three young guys. One of them I do not want, and two guys they are not going to trade. And they got a fourth option, and this is the guy that would have to be the centerpiece of this trade. I talked about it last week, I believe, and that is Hunter Brown. He is a starting pitcher for the Houston Astros. He was pitching out of the bullpen. He was really good. He's probably like the sixth guy in the rotation, or maybe like Urquidy is like the sixth guy in the rotation. But Hunter Brown would have to be the centerpiece of this deal. I saw somebody was floating that, Urquidy could be the centerpiece of a trade with the A's for Sean Murphy. And I was laying in bed thinking about that tweet, and I was like, that's not right at all. Because Urquidy, but at the trade deadline, the Astros had an agreement with the Chicago Cubs to trade Jose Urquidy, who had like 3 years of control left, to the Chicago Cubs in exchange for Wilson Contreras at the deadline. Jim Crane said, no, I don't want to do that. But there was an agreement between the two front offices that was equal value. Half a season, or like 2 months, of Wilson Contreras was equal to 3 years of Jose Urquidy. That is not the deal that the A's are trying to go for in trading Sean Murphy away. So Jose Urquidy, hopefully, he's like a league average starter. He's had like a 4 ERA. He's fine, but I don't want him in this trade. I mean, maybe it's like a super supplemental piece, but Hunter Brown, centerpiece of this deal. From there, I mean, I said no catchers. I know I said no catchers. I don't want Corey Lee. That's fine, because he's only a catcher. But they got another guy. Yainer Diaz, he's 24 years old. He's good. He's got a good hit tool. I will give him that. He's got a really nice hit tool. He only struck out 17.8% of the time in AAA between AA and AAA last year. Great hit tool. He hit 25 home runs in the minors. He's a catcher / first baseman, so there's not really a need for those two positions necessarily. The A's got Ryan Noda in the Rule 5 draft. Very excited about that. They also got Tyler Soderstrom coming up through the minors. He's probably going to be starting in AAA, and he is also a catcher / first baseman. So I don't know that there is room for this guy, but he's a good bet. He's an upgrade over somebody, but not necessarily at a position that they need. So I don't know who the second piece of this deal is, but I like this guy, but it's not an improvement in an area that the A's need. Can he play outfield? Probably not, but throw him in the outfield. Screw it. Really, I think that the A's don't match up here because, I mean, Chas McCormick has some trade value. I don't want Chas McCormick. He's like a 250 hitter. He's fine. He can play some good defense, but I don't think the Astros want to trade Chas McCormick either. He also has like 4 years of control left. He's not like a super controlled guy with like a big upside. He's like a fine guy, I guess. I don't want Chas McCormick in this deal. That's where I think that it's the Astros thing about him. But they got guys in the lower minors that could be fits here, but outside of catchers, they don't have anybody really in the upper minors that's like knocking on the door. And that's really what the A's are looking for right now. I mean, they could get some guys in like A-ball that are outfielders that are some of their top prospects, and that would be great. But the Astros' top prospects, they've got one in MLB Pipeline's top 100, and that is Hunter Brown. End of list. So they don't have like many fits off the major league roster because, I mean, they're not going to be trading guys off the major league roster necessarily because they just won a World Series and they still want to keep doing that. So they don't want to mess with that formula too much. And also, they've been making other trades, and so they don't have like a great farm system like they used to. So there's fewer pieces to pull from here, so you might not be getting that same level of talent that you would have in previous seasons. And so I don't think that they're a good trade partner. That's where I'm standing on the Houston Astros. Don't trade them within the division. One, don't trade them to the Houston Astros. Two, that's it. That's my Sean Murphy to the Houston Astros segment. You're welcome, some guy. Hunter Brown and blank. I mean, maybe if they could swing a deal. Well, I'm not going to talk about a 3-team deal here, but if they could get the guy that I'm going to mention with the Diamondbacks and also Hunter Brown in some sort of a 3-team deal, that would be great. Do that trade. But this team by itself, I don't see a fit there with what the A's are going for and what the Astros would be willing to be moving and all that. And I had a thought that I was like, hey, maybe with no GM in place in Houston, maybe Jim Crane will just do a Dave Dombrowski and just start trading all of his prospects and really burn the team to the ground. But their farm system's not like necessarily great right now anyway, so don't supplement their own team for them. Let them crash and burn on their own. That's what I want to see. I want to see the end of the Houston Astros. I don't want to be trading them the second best catcher in baseball. That sounds stupid. Don't be doing stupid things, A's front office. That's the second time I've told you that. Don't draft Kyler Murray. Don't trade Sean Murphy to the Houston Astros. But coming up, we're going to be trying to trade Sean Murphy to the Arizona Diamondbacks because, hey, why not? So stay locked in, you guys. Welcome back to the Locked On A's podcast. If you guys are enjoying the show and you've made it this far, please leave us a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. It helps the algorithm find other fans like yourself. It helps the podcast grow, and I like growing, so please, thank you. Also, make sure to follow us on social media at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at @ByJasonB on Twitter, and make sure to check out Inside the A's. It's the site that I run in affiliation with Sports Illustrated. It's just at Inside the A's on Twitter and on Facebook, so you never miss an article over there. But let's talk about a potential trade package with the Arizona Diamondbacks because they were mentioned in rumors for Sean Murphy a few days ago, and I was like, let's see if he gets traded, and he hasn't been. So I was like, hey, let's put together a trade package. Let's see if they match up. And that the Arizona Diamondbacks are trying to trade one of their outfielders, not their best outfielder, not Corbin Carroll, but they'd listen on Dalton Varsho, who's another catcher. And I think he has like a decent amount of trade value, but I don't think that the A's necessarily would go after him. I think that it would be either Alek Thomas or Jake McCarthy. McCarthy is a 25-year-old outfielder. He's average defensively. He can play all three, but he's average at all of them. He hit .283 with a .342 on base, 8 home runs, and 23 stolen bases. Not a bad season for, being relatively young in the major leagues. I think that was in like 312 plate appearances, I want to say. It was like half a season, roughly, in terms of plate appearances. But, decent stat line. Not a bad stat line. He had a 21.5% strikeout rate, but the thing that worries me is there's a lot of blue on his Baseball Savant page where he's not walking. He's striking out a decent amount. He's not hitting the ball hard. He doesn't have a hard, max exit velocity. He doesn't, play defense particularly well. I think that other than sprint speed, which he was like 98th percentile, I think, his next highest attribute was, average exit? No. Max exit, something. He had like a 56, and then everything else was like between 20th and 30th percentile, and that is not necessarily the profile of a guy that you want as a centerpiece of a deal for Sean Murphy. So I went on to Alek Thomas, who I said that I wanted on yesterday's show because he spells his name with a K, Alec, and I like that. So Alek Thomas, he is a 22-year-old great defensive center fielder. The A's have one of those. But I like this guy. He's interesting. And why not have 3 center fielders just patrolling the Oakland Coliseum? 2 of them can play outfield and just shag all the balls, and the other one can go after the stray cats. There you go. Boom. He struck out 18% of the time in Arizona. He played 111 games, I want to say, in center field. So decent amount of track record there. He hit 231 with a 275 on base. It seems like fastballs and changeups gave him a little bit of an issue, so my assumption here is that it's a pitch recognition thing that can be fixed. He just has to see a lot of fastballs and a lot of changeups, and then all of a sudden he can hit both. But it was not breaking balls that were giving him issues, and that is good. So at least yet. But I think that he has more of a profile to work with. He also is very good at sprint speed, very good at defense. He's got some other little bits of red in his baseball savant page as well. So one of those two guys would likely be the centerpiece of this deal. And then beyond that, I think you probably go with one of their pitchers that made their major league debut. One of them is Dre Jameson, which great name. He was interesting. He was okay. He had a better better stats in 4 starts than the guy that I would like. But he seemed fine. He was projected as maybe being a bullpen guy long term, and I think that analysis would scare the A's away. Not, I mean, if the A's saw him as a starter, sure, but that would scare me away because I want starting pitching, not relievers, in the trade for Sean Murphy. So the guy that I would go after is Ryan Nelson. He is the Diamondbacks' number 8 prospect. He's 24 years old. In 3 starts, he had a 147 ERA with an 0.82 WHIP. The thing that was really interesting to me was he's in the 78th percentile in extension, which means when he's throwing the ball, how far he go, like the extension that he gets is good because he throws a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and it gets on guys a lot faster because of his extension, whereas Dre Jameson is in like the 10th percent. He was very low in the extension percentile ranking, and that was really the decision that I had to make. One of them profiles as a reliever, and also one of them gets more extension. I went with the guy that has the good extension and not a reliever, and that is Ryan Nelson. So he would be my second piece in this deal. Is he a sure thing? No, but I'm intrigued by him at least, so there's that. And then from there, I think that the guy that I would go for, and he's not near the major leagues by any means, so he's probably off the table, but that's Deyvison De Los Santos, Deyvison, Davison, love it. He's from the Dominican Republic. He is 19 years old. He is currently a third baseman. Some people believe that he might grow out of the position and have to move over to first base, which is an issue. They could also just throw him in left. Screw it. Why not? But the thing that I like, and I like this about a lot of guys, I mean, I signed Joey Gallo earlier in this episode, but he has huge raw power. And I like that. He's 19 years old, and he's got huge raw power. He played in A-ball, high A, and double A last year. He only spent 10 games in double A. But combined between all 3 stops, he hit 306 with a 348 on base, 22 home runs, 29 doubles. He was much younger than everybody, and he was doing the dang thing. He struggled a little bit in the Arizona Fall League. I think he hit like 219 with a 280 on base. I'm doing this off of memory. I wrote about it at Inside the A's. If you want the exact numbers, Inside the A's got you covered. But he struggled a little bit in the Arizona Fall League, and that's because he already had played like 126 games, I think, between those 3 stops in 2022, and then another 19 in the Arizona Fall League. He played like 61 in 2021. He'd already played double the amount of games that he had played the year before. He's probably tired, and also facing better competition. But he was probably tired, you guys. So grain of salt on those Arizona Fall League numbers, I think. Also, huge raw power. I like this guy. Trade for him in like a different trade. I don't know that he's necessarily, the Sean Murphy trade package, but I like that profile. And I don't know that that's necessarily, that's like roughly equal value, but if the A's are going for, shooting for the moon like they did with the St. Louis Cardinals, you probably got to include one of either shortstop, Blaze Alexander. He has a little bit of speed, a little bit of pop, 70 great arm. Move him to right field or left field, do whatever. Because that arm's good, but you also got Nick Allen over at shortstop already, and maybe you could play him at second, but then his arm would kind of be wasted. Move him to third, do whatever. But Blaze Alexander's an interesting-ish guy. He's the Diamondbacks' number 9 prospect, I want to say, on Pipeline. And then another guy is Dominic Flesher. He's an outfielder. He played in AAA. He's basically a 4th outfielder, so he'd be like an extra piece in this trade. He's got a good hit tool, not a lot of power. He hit like 5 home runs in 101 games in the Pacific Coast League. It's impressive that he only hit 5, honestly. So not a lot of power in that profile. He's really just a batted ball guy. So, but he plays good defense. So we'll see. That's that prospect, or that's that trade right there. It. Sorry, I thought I heard something. It. I don't know that there's necessarily like enough guys that you're like, I need that guy in my system. That's a guy on the 2023 Oakland A's or the 2024 Oakland A's. And so, like outside of like Alec Thomas, who's good, but he's still a work in progress. I'm not sure. Ryan Nelson could help now, I guess, but that third piece, that's going to be very important, I think, for the A's to hit on as well, because they're trading one of the best catchers in baseball, by my measurements, the second best in baseball. So there's that. But that is all that I got for you guys on today's episode and for this week. Thank you again for making the Locked On A's your first listen of the day. Now, for your second listen, go make Locked On Sports Today your second listen, because it's a fantastic show hosted by Peter Bukowski, and he does great things. And it's available on all of the platforms that you could ever want. So they talk about the biggest news and sports news and headlines. And the thing's not loading is what's going on here. Thanks, Microsoft. They talk about sports, and it's the biggest news in sports, and it's great, and it's fun, and I'm riffing at this point. It's a good show. The ad copy didn't come up, but it's a good show. I promise you will enjoy the Locked On Sports Today podcast. It's on YouTube. It's wherever you get podcasts. But that is all that I got for you guys today. Make sure to follow us on social media at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at @JasonB on Twitter. Check out Inside the A's on both Twitter and on Facebook so you never miss an article over there. I'm going to be off from Locked On A's for the weekend, but you might get some stuff over at Inside the A's, so make sure to check it out. That's, again, all for me today. It's Friday. So until next time and next week, go out and celebrate good times, Oakland. And I'll talk at you tomorrow. Or next week. I'll talk at you next week. God damn it, Jason.